I am going to be doing the part 2 evaluation by using the pyramid of conflict diagnosis. So strategies to negotiate possible solutions. I like the 7-step problem solving technique because it's professional, it's direct, and it's to the point. And you do this by identifying the issue, understand everyone's interest, list the possible solutions, evaluate the options, select an option or options, document the agreement, and agree on contingencies, monitoring, and evaluations. The reason why I like this is because it's very professional, and I believe that it's very much something that Joe Biden and John McCain would have used on the Senate floor during their discussions and some of their heated debates. I don't like the decide how to decide. I don't see how these two can use this method effectively in the position they're in. I think this is used more in a business setting than on a Senate floor because it's very one way and it's really between two people versus two people and how they decide what others will do versus two people decide how best to come up with something. So I think it's very shadowy. Strategies to focus on interests and needs. So the Harvard's principle-based negotiation. Separate the people from the problem. Joe Biden and John McCain, they never did this. They always focused on the people when it came to a problem. Focus on interests, not positions. Absolutely focus on people's interests, not themselves or their positions. They did this all the time and with great effect. Invent options for mutual gain. Both these guys knew what was wrong and what was right. And I don't believe that any of them used whether or not they were wrong or right for mutual gain. And insist on objective criteria. This is essential because you need to figure out how you're going to meet your goal. Just because you're wrong or right doesn't mean that everything's going to work out. You still got to figure out how to get there. Path to action. See, hear, tell a story, feel, act. I believe that this was used between these two during personal time, such as going out for lunch or meeting with family and dinner, because they did spend a lot of time together outside the Oval Office. And I think this is something they might have used to de-escalate situations or to focus a little more on the interest and needs of the people. Strategies to identify source of conflict. Moore's circle of conflict. There is plenty of static for both of these individuals. They have their own party talking to them. They have the other party talking to them. They have the president. They have the people. So there's plenty of distractions to prevent people from communicating. In order to limit the noise, both these guys, they met outside the work environment to discuss things. They went out to lunch and dinner. Stepping out, stepping in. I believe they both used this in order to get away from the noise and let the dust settle for a while before they got back together to discuss things in more detail. These two would have pretty heated debates on the Senate floor. And I do believe that after a while, it's like, you know what? Let's just take 5 and come back. Strategies to examine communication and conflict styles. The ask, mirror, paraphrase, prime, AMP model. I think that this is mostly used in a relationship setting between a couple to resolve personal issues. I don't think this has anything to do with this relationship because it's not very in-depth and it seems more personal and more involved with like a relationship between a couple versus two friends. So overall, examining this, I think they both used a long discussion format from the 7-step process to understand exactly what the other is needing or wanting, and they both used it. Then they would use their governmental positions to solidify their discussions. Identify the only real conflict was that they were in different parties who had and still have a hard time agreeing on anything besides what is good for their agenda. These two defied that. Focus, they both had strong morals and ethics and were patriots for their country. They both understood that the most important thing they can do is what is right for the American people. The vote to continue Obamacare by John McCain is one of the biggest examples of doing the right thing for the people. Adapt, I think that spending time with each other outside of work really helped these two to make agreements much easier than those that don't seek some form of friendship outside of work. They also understood that the people need what is best, and they both had to work on that in order to come to an agreement, not what is best for their side. So these are the 4 pyramids of conflict diagnosis between John McCain and Joe Biden.